Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks are back at SIUH Community Park July 7th to the 12th for a 6-game series against the High Point Rockers. Wednesday, July 8th with first pitch at 6:30. It's Woo Wednesday in collaboration with the Wu-Tang Clan. The Ferry Hawks transform into the Shaolin Hawks. Thursday, July 9th, first pitch is at 6:30. It's Thirsty Thursday with $5 Bud and Bud Light Drafts.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, July 9th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sun and clouds this morning. Humid. Thunderstorms likely this afternoon. The high going to be 85. Tonight and overnight, pop-up storms possible, low 74. And then Friday, mostly cloudy, humid again, high 89. If you are walking out the door with us right now, 70 partly cloudy in Smithtown out on Long Island. It's 71 and clear in Cresskill over in New Jersey. And it's 70 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
The blame game begins over that crumpled Midtown tower. Oh no, that explosive diarrhea outbreak, it's made it here. What a weird moment in a Long Island cemetery. The most entertaining town meetings in Cranford, New Jersey. And an artist cashes in the most unique way on Taylor Swift's wedding. All right, let's get into it at 5:04. Construction crews continuing to install temporary supports to shore up that 37-story high-rise on the east side that sparked fears of a possible collapse when crews discovered those buckling columns inside. It is not shifted since Tuesday, so that's the good news. Yesterday, many tenants and residents in that neighborhood were allowed back inside their evacuated buildings, including guests at the Hampton Inn. These were tourists from out of town who had to leave all their suitcases, stuff behind.
It's a very much headache. So we didn't have no clothes. So, you spending money that you really that you didn't put in your budget.
Now, they did a quick fix on this. By noon yesterday, temporary shorings and beams had been installed from floors 18 through 23, and by last night, work was proceeding on the 13th floor. Officials say crews working their way down floor by floor, installing those shorings all the way down to the 9th floor. The Department of Buildings last night saying that building is stable. Now, according to Metro Loft, they're the developer overseeing this conversion project. This was a Pfizer office building, their headquarters. Now they're converting it into condos. They say the columns likely buckled under the weight of newly expanded upper floors. Now, the company said part of the floor sagged by about 4 inches, but maintains the building was never in danger of collapsing. In fact, they put out a statement yesterday. They say this incident is nothing more than a typical construction mishap. That's how they view it. But Mayor Mamdani, he doesn't see it that way at all.
We are going to be conducting a full investigation as to how we got to this point, because this is not a necessary consequence of an office to residential conversion. This, however, is clearly a breakdown in that process.
And we're hearing from at least one of the workers who was inside that building as this building was being shored up.
It could be that the piece was constructed wrong. That's what went through my head. Maybe it was installed wrong. Maybe there was too much weight that was put on the floor above.
Apparently at some point we'll know the answer to that question. 5:06. Thank God this guy's in custody. This is the gunman, well, we should say alleged gunman, who fired at that family celebrating 4th of July, having a barbecue, Coney Island on Saturday. 8 people shot. NYPD announcing the arrest of 44-year-old Robert Smith yesterday in connection to the incident that left 8 people, including 4 children, with gunshot wounds. Here was the grandmother.
There's always shootings going on around here. It doesn't matter what time of day. It could be during the daytime, nighttime, whatever.
That was the grandmother of a 21-year-old victim who remains in critical condition. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch says there was a family barbecue happening at the time when this gunman allegedly fired through this crowd through a fence. Smith being charged with multiple counts of attempted murder. There are no details yet on a motive or how police link Smith to this crime. Up in the Hudson Valley yesterday, just tragedy. A 7-year-old girl hit and killed by a bus in Muncie. Now, we don't have a whole lot of details, but Ramapo police say this incident is under active investigation.
There's no suspected alcohol or drug involvement, and there's no criminal charges being looked into at this time.
Cops unsure who's at fault. They do say that they do not think the driver was speeding at the time.
The child, a 7-year-old girl from Muncie, and the driver of the school bus is a 28-year-old male from Muncie.
EMS pronounced that girl dead at the scene. No drugs, alcohol suspected as contributors to the incident. The accident is being investigated by the Ramapo Police Crash Investigation Unit. WABC News Time 5:09. Democrat Graham Plattner, who was the Democratic nominee for Senate in Maine, he officially dropped out of the race yesterday. Doesn't come as a surprise. He had suspended his campaign a few days earlier amid a sex assault allegation from a woman. He ranted on for about 11 minutes in his goodbye speech, saying he was getting off the campaign trail.
I intend to file my paperwork to withdraw.
The Democrat announcing his decision following a recent sex assault allegation. In the video, Plattner railed against the political establishment, maintained his innocence.
Those in power who have the ability to do so are using these allegations as an excuse to take away all of the things that we need to run a campaign. We're going to lose all of the things that any campaign needs on the basic level simply to function.
Yeah, so he's out. President Trump weighing in on this.
It's really a question of whether or not you believe the woman. A lot of people say big falsehoods. He's in a bind. The
Maine Democratic Party had announced in a statement posted to X that they had voted to hold a nominating convention now to choose a new nominee. Plattner's problems appeared to come to head following a report in Politico where a woman who dated Plattner accused him of forcing her to have sex with him almost 5 years ago, despite repeated objections. Now, Plattner has denied those allegations, but several top Democrats quickly withdrew their support for him, called him to end his campaign, which apparently he is going to do. The embattled Plattner had faced a bunch of questions before that, by the way. It wasn't the only thing, including claims that he had a Nazi tattoo covered up. There were some Democrats in Maine who were upset that he dropped out.
Oh, tell him, nice try, buddy, but get out.
We have to go with what we have.
Yeah, so apparently those papers will be drawn up today where he'll withdraw from the campaign officially. 5:11, let's go overseas. Still a mess in the Middle East. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it launched attacks on U.S. bases in Kuwait and Bahrain overnight in retaliation for recent American strikes on Iran. That was overnight as well. It warned if the U.S. aggression continues, the response will be to expand to other U.S. bases in the region.
But we've already won militarily. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly.
That's the president aboard Air Force One. He's back at the White House this morning, came in about 1:30 this morning. He says the strikes were retribution for Iran strikes on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So they're just volleying back and forth with missiles at each other.
They're sort of crazy, to be honest with you. They're sort of crazy. They're a little bit out of control, but they want to make a deal. Badly.
U.S. CENTCOM reports American airstrikes were conducted inside Iran. News Nation's Robert Sherman is in Qatar.
For the second consecutive night, American forces are striking Iran. According to Iranian state media, there have been explosions in southern Iran along the Strait of Hormuz, which is in line and in keeping with what we have seen these strikes look like in the past, coming from Central Command, targeting military infrastructure, air defense systems that exist along that coastline, but also any launch capabilities that had historically been used to target commercial ships.
Now, the president had been in Turkey the last couple of days for the NATO summit, and reporters were asking him yesterday during a press conference saying, hey, do you think what's happening in Iran, it's been successful for the U.S.? Here's what he had to say.
So when you say not a success, it's a tremendous success. The fake news likes to say how well they're doing. They're doing terribly. They have 350% inflation. When the war started, they had like 6%. They want to make a deal, but they don't know how to make a deal, and then they go around shooting ships at night. I don't like that. The Iran war has been a tremendous military success. And, I can only answer the question by saying they're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
And the president, again, overnight on that flight back home to Washington, says he thinks the ceasefire is over between Iran. So what's next? We just don't know. And crude oil prices soared about 7% higher yesterday with the potential for more U.S. strikes against Iran. Chris Brigatti is the chief investment officer at SWBC and shared his insight as to what will happen if the Strait of Hormuz is once again closed to shipping traffic.
I do think the inflation picture is not over with yet. We still expect to see some impacts because oil experts are telling us the fact that it's going to take several months, probably closer to a year, to really get everything lined up again with regard to distribution, refinery operation, and transportation, even through an open Strait of Hormuz. So ultimately, I don't think inflation picture is over with. I expect it to be stickier, longer for higher is the narrative, and I expect that to be our foreseeable future.
All right, so those gas prices have gone down. Of course, the worry is they'll go back up again. And we should talk about NATO because that's why the president was in Turkey. He says the summit was successful. He says leaders he met with are doing a great job for their country, and he called them all smart people.
Another focus at the summit is President Trump's push to get NATO allies to boost their defense spending again beyond already increased targets. Member nations revealed new military projects worth billions of dollars to show their progress so far.
That's correspondent Alice Barr, the president on the sideline of NATO, meeting with the head of Ukraine, talking about the fact that we're going to help them with Patriot missiles.
A little birdie told me this about the fact that we'll give them the right to make Patriots. We'll show them how to do it. It's very complex, actually, but you'll figure out the complexity quickly.
Zelensky was there to meet with the president, and he said those meetings went well as well. Okay.
We haven't informed the company of that yet, but that'll work out all right. I'm sure they'll be thrilled.
Yeah, all right. The president will be back is back at the White House, got back at about 1:30 this morning. In a moment, we'll head over to Kentucky and what is just a strange story, right? Mitch McConnell, we've been told, has been hospitalized. Now we're hearing from his wife, and the story just gets stranger by the moment. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. We will start out in Queens. A 5-run rally in the 8th lifted the Mets to a 6-2 win over the Royals in the middle game of a 3-game series. Rookie A.J. Ewing hit his first career leadoff homer, a 420-foot blast to get things going for New York. Starter Christian Scott allowed 3 hits and struck out 5 in 5 scoreless innings. Up next for the Mets, the lefty Sean Manaea will get the start against Kansas City's Michael Wacha in this afternoon's rubber game finale of this 3-game series. First pitch from KC is scheduled for 1:10 p.m. In Tampa Bay, the Yankees got shut out 3-0 by the Rays in the 3rd game of a 4-game series, dropping to 5 games back now of Tampa for first place in the division. The Rays have struck out the Yankees 45 times in the first 3 games of the series. Starter Garrett Cole was charged with 3 runs over 6 1/3 innings of work, gave up 7 hits, struck out 6, and walked 1 on 97 pitches. Yankees manager Aaron Boone and bench coach Brad Ausmus were both ejected in the 6th inning, and New York has now lost 11 of its past 13 games. Up next for the Yankees, the finale of this 4-game set against the Rays this afternoon with New York vying for a series split. The Yankees have yet to pick an opener against Tampa's Drew Rasmussen in what will be a 1:10 p.m. first pitch from Tropicana Field. Check in on the World Cup. Off day yesterday as we get set to open up the quarterfinals this afternoon out in New England. It'll be France and Morocco getting things going. Tomorrow afternoon out in Los Angeles, Spain and Belgium will get underway. And come Saturday evening, 5 p.m. in Miami, Norway and England before Argentina and Switzerland get going out in Kansas City.
My neighbor is from Morocco.
Okay.
And you realize how nuts they are when you hang out with somebody who's following the World Cup, who has since they're 2 years old.
I'm not sure I've ever done that before. I don't know.
It's insanity. He has everybody over his house is from Morocco. They're all wearing the jerseys.
Right.
And they're way more nuts than we are about the Knicks or the Giants. It's an insanity that I can't really explain, but it's fun to watch.
Nationalism, baby.
That's what it is.
Yeah. If we were good at soccer, you'd see the same thing.
Maybe we would. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, you see when we go to the Olympics and we put a basketball team up at the Olympics, we beat every team by 50 points, but we're still packing the bars watching every game.
That's true.
watching every minute of every game.
I don't know. Somehow it seems even more so with these. When it comes to World Cup.
Yeah, of course. Listen, you're in the quarterfinals. If you're Morocco and you're looking at the teams left in this thing,
they have a shot.
They have a shot. No. And when it comes to, the size of these nations or the relevancy of these nations, I'm not knocking Morocco here, but you got Spain, Norway, England, Argentina.
They can pull this off.
In terms
Today's the hardest game, right? If they win this game, I think they have a good shot.
You're playing Mbappe in France. This is
the biggest game.
Unless you were playing defending champion Argentina, but those are the top two teams in the tournament. Yeah. So if you can get past Spain, that's a big hill to climb.
I'm going to go out
Morocco.
And buy a Morocco shirt so I can join his party later.
Oh, go over to your neighbors. Get wasted later. Watch Morocco. That's your sports now. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 520. Let's head over to Kentucky. It's been more than 3 weeks since Senator Mitch McConnell was admitted to the hospital, and while questions about his health remain unanswered, we're hearing from the senator's wife for the first time. In a statement that she sent to WLKY, a TV station in Kentucky, a spokesperson for Elaine Chao said that the secretary was on a long-planned trip to China to support her family's philanthropic endeavors. During the trip, she said she met with a number of people, including the U.S. ambassador. She says the senator's health did not warrant an immediate return to the U.S., so she's away while he's in the hospital. I don't know how that would fly with your wife or husband. Wouldn't fly with mine. Then they added that Chao has since returned from her trip to China and is back in the U.S. Her staff did not say if she's been in touch with McConnell since returning home. Really? So he's in the hospital and she's not by his side. I think that's odd. She left for the trip. It gets even more bizarre. She left for the trip to China on June 12th. That's just 2 days after McConnell was hospitalized. Now, there had been rumors that he was found in his house on the floor. Now, we don't know if that's true. It remains unclear why McConnell was hospitalized. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says he's been kept in the dark. He's still upset about this.
We've received no information, no updates. If there's been any direct outreach, I'm unaware of it. I don't want to speculate about anybody's health. The only things that I know, I've read, and I can't verify.
Yeah, I don't really understand why they're hiding this. It's sort of like the same thing with Tom Kane Jr. That was bizarre, too. In their latest statement to this station in Kentucky, McConnell's staff, the senator said the senator appreciates the outpouring of support he's receiving while he continues to recover in the hospital, but they aren't saying what exactly is going on with him. 522. Let's go over to Texas, where the son of an illegal immigrant killed by ICE agents in Houston demanding an investigation today.
He did not deserve to die. He did not deserve to be reduced to a headline of Mexican man shot and killed by ICE.
Rolando Salgado says his dad was in the process of obtaining a work permit, was not a criminal. He was driving to a construction site when he was caught in what the feds are calling a targeted enforcement operation. An ICE spokesman says Lorenzo Salgado rammed their car, refused to follow orders, and was shot when he tried to run over an ICE agent. His son says there's no way that his dad did this.
My father feared for his life as unmarked cars followed my dad, who only wanted to get back to work.
And he says his dad was in the process of obtaining this work permit, was not a criminal.
We dotted every I, crossed every T, filled every document, attended every appointment. He was close to obtaining his legal status.
And now the family calling for an independent investigation into that shooting. A video statement from the roommate and romantic partner of Charlie Kirk's accused killer was played in court. Or more of it will be played today. The police interview with Lance Twiggs as part of the prosecution's case against Tyler Robinson that's being laid out during this week-long evidence hearing that's taking place in Utah. Twiggs' video could be huge, with Robinson reportedly confessing to Twiggs about the murder. Now, on Wednesday, the defense objected to playing the interview, saying it'll violate Robinson's right to a fair trial, but the judge ruled it can be played with some redactions. Now, there was, as you've been hearing, Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, has been in the courtroom for some of this. His parents, Kirk's parents, have been as well. And yesterday, Donald Trump Jr. was there.
I'm there to not only honor Charlie's legacy, to support Erica, his parents who were there, seated all in the row with us. It was just important to be there.
Donald Trump Jr. says he thinks this is a slam dunk deal, that that it is Robinson is responsible.
There was so much stuff that, amidst the noise and the internet chatter that was laid out that I had never heard, and makes this case very cut and dry. The defense sounded very weak. The defense's only real tactic was seemingly to either stall or try to not admit essentially any evidence whatsoever, because I guess it would be too damning to their client.
So at the hearing's end, the judge will decide if there's enough evidence against Robinson to proceed to trial. 5:25, it continues to be a nightmare in Colorado. This huge fire still burning. Business owners, people in southern Colorado near the Aspen Acres, they say they're worried about just getting back to business, their homes, fires, hoping firefighters will be able to gain containment of this thing. But it's only, 17% contained, something like that this morning. At least that was the number last night. This man works at a barbecue and a dispensary spot off the interstate where this fire is, and he says business, of course, is evaporated.
Well, we get a lot of travelers, so we don't have travelers coming through. Gas stations were shut down. Our restaurant next door is completely shut down. It's a barbecue restaurant, so they can't smoke their meat. This
fire has gone through 96,000 acres, 260 structures, homes destroyed. Even though some people have been allowed back into their homes, several thousand more are still waiting. This worker at the barbecue says it's just not good.
So we don't have anybody stopping through. I literally had 15 customers yesterday. So, it's definitely taken a hit on our business.
And firefighters just having a hard time containing this thing. 5:26, Texas is looking to ban foreigners from using American surrogates to have their babies, putting a spotlight on the issue of birthright citizenship.
Birth tourism is an illegal practice that exploits the extraordinary hospitality that the United States and Texas offer to millions.
That's State Senator Lois Kohlhorst, who is leading a hearing in Texas on the issue of so-called birth tourism. Data on how often this happens is kind of foggy at best, but surrogacy agencies are private and the government does not collect data. But conservative groups are framing the debate as one that threatens national security.
Unfortunately, thousands of foreign travelers come to the United States under false pretenses to give birth and secure citizenship for their children. A Chinese billionaire used American surrogacy to father over 100 children.
And now the Texas Governor Greg Abbott directing state officials to immediately launch an investigation into a state hospital for allegedly seeking to profit from birth tourism practices that he says have been taking place for quite a while.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, July 9th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sun and clouds this morning. Going to be humid again. Thunderstorms likely this afternoon. The high 85. Tonight, overnight pop-up storms, low 74. And then Friday, it's going to be mostly cloudy, humid as well, and then a high of 89. If you are walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are, 70 partly cloudy in Smithtown out on Long Island. It's 71 and clear in Cresco over in New Jersey. And it's 70 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 540. We told you that we got word that Bonnie Tyler, total eclipse of a heart singer, she passed away at 75. I'm just getting a statement from the family. They say that they're heartbroken to announce that Bonnie unexpectedly passed away in Portugal last night as a result of an illness that she was being treated for, but apparently a shock. She hadn't been, seriously ill. At least that's what the statement says at 75 years old. Of course, as more info comes into us, we'll pass it on to you. 541. New York City has now 273 confirmed cases of that notorious explosive diarrhea parasite you may have been hearing about. According to the New York City Health Department, the city has seen an increase in cases compared to the previous years. 301 people sickened so far for the entirety of 2026. The number includes people who both recently traveled internationally. I guess almost all these people have traveled internationally. And that's the thought is where they got it. The department's still investigating where and how the infected people may have been exposed. They're working in conjunction with the CDC, the FDA, and other health departments. Doctors say, you don't want to catch this because it's not fun.
Symptoms usually start about a week after consuming the contaminated food or water, and symptoms could last at least a week. Usually it's more severe in immunocompromised patients and in the elderly.
Now, the state of New York also has 125 cases. That's just since May 1st. Just 3 weeks ago, the CDC reported fewer than 80 cases statewide. So clearly, people getting sick.
Since the second...
Oh, I should point out this is someone who had it. So she explains what it's like.
Since the second to today, when I weighed myself this morning, I've lost 10 pounds. I'm scared to eat because the minute that anything hits your stomach, you are in so much pain.
Okay, so symptoms include severe cramping, nausea, vomiting, fatigue, watery, explosive diarrhea. While some who are infected never exhibit symptoms, others need to be hospitalized. Now, this infection is usually contracted during travel outside the U.S. as a result of consuming food or water that's been contaminated with feces. It's more common in tropical areas. That woman you just heard from, she had traveled overseas. 5:43, New York City is warning people to stay out of the ocean at least a dozen beaches because of elevated bacterial levels after all the rain this week. New York City Health Department advising against swimming. The advisory even applies to wading in the water, but there have been no announcements that we can tell on the beach. In fact, at Coney Island, there was only one small sign warning people not to go in the water.
Oh, my God. They should warn people more that what's going on. Because most
information is power here.
Exactly.
Yes, so health officials, just so you have a sense of how bad it is, they say the average bacterial level is approximately 20 per 100 millimeters, but after all that torrential rain, the bacteria sat at around 227, more than 10 times higher. An infectious disease expert helped make sense of the health risk.
The most common problem is swallowing the water and getting a gastrointestinal illness, virus or bacterial infection. It can be irritating to the eyes and to the ears. And as a general rule, it's not very aesthetically pleasing to think that you're swimming in contaminated water.
No, that sounds disgusting. Most of the swimmers, a lot of them seem to be tourists from out of town at Coney Island, didn't seem to know anything about this.
The ocean's the ocean to us. We're not around too much. So
dirty ocean is still ocean.
Still the ocean. Yeah, we're used to fresh water, so.
That's terrible. That's heartbreaking. And now we can't go in because of bacteria.
If I would have had gone in there and get an infection, oh my God, what's going on here?
Now, the amazing part is these people still went in, a lot of them, even after hearing about that. And one more health story, cooling tower testing. It continues on the Upper East Side as the number of Legionnaires disease cases continues to grow. As of 10 o'clock last night, 36 reported cases, 22 hospitalizations, no deaths so far. Health officials say the most common way to get sick is from breathing mist from a contaminated cooling tower. It can spread multiple city blocks. The city began testing cooling towers in 3 zip codes on the Upper East Side, 10075, 10028, and 10128. Officials say only about 160 cooling towers have been tested so far as they try to figure out exactly where this Legionella bacteria is coming from. Of course, New Yorkers want more information.
I don't feel safe, but I got to go to work. They was giving out flyers the other day about it.
This is crazy. I've been hearing about Legionnaires, but I didn't know where it was, and I'm scared.
Yeah, the mayor's office plans to release a list of all the buildings that tested positive for Legionella bacteria in the coming days. In a moment, we'll head out to Long Island for a wacky moment in a cemetery. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. And here's Justin Ella.
Thank you, Noah Maladen. Support sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a dealer near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. Start out in Queens, a 5-run rally in the 8th lifted the Mets to a 6-2 win over the Royals in the middle game of a 3-game series. Rookie A.J. Ewing hit his first career leadoff homer, a 420-foot blast to get things going for New York. And starter Christian Scott allowed 3 hits, struck out 5 in 5 scoreless innings. Up next for the Mets, Sean Manaea will get the start against Kansas City's Michael Wacha in this afternoon's rubber game finale of this 3-game set. First pitch from KC is scheduled for 1:10 p.m. In Tampa Bay, the Yankees got shut out 3-0 by the Rays in the third game of a 4-game series, dropping to 5 games back now of Tampa for first place in the division. The Rays have struck out the Yankees 45 times in the first 3 games of this series. Starter Garrett Cole was charged with 3 runs over 6 1/3 innings of work. He gave up 7 hits, struck out 6, and walked 1 on 97 pitches. Yankees manager Aaron Boone and bench coach Brad Ausmus were both ejected in the 6th inning, and New York has now lost 11 of its past 13 games. Up next for the Yankees, the finale of this 4-game set against the Rays this afternoon, with New York vying for a series split. And the Yankees have yet to pick an opener against Tampa's Drew Rasmussen in what will be a 1:10 p.m. first pitch from Tropicana Field.
How many games back are they now?
They are 5 games back now.
Okay, so that's doable. They got to turn it. You know what? They'll use the All-Star break to put the team back together.
Yeah, I guess.
A little rest, maybe they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not that optimistic
maybe Aaron Boone
about
will be back after the All-Star break?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, really the only starting pitcher in the last time through the rotation that has come out and pitched like we've lost 11 of our past 13 games was Cam Schlittler, who came out and put a stoppage to it in the opener of this 4-game set against the Tampa Bay Rays. But Garrett Cole wasn't bad last night. But again, when the bats are going this cold, striking out 45 times in 3 games, you're going to need some special stuff on the mound from these starting pitchers to shut down these opposing offenses, and you're just not seeing it.
Let me see I'll give you the glasses half full. Yeah. Look how they started the season. They had a great run.
Yeah.
So that tells me that the Pats have gone cold. Have you ever heard of come back?
Have you ever heard of so there's this guy on the team. He hasn't played in a few weeks. His name is Aaron Judge. He's won 3 MVP awards.
Right. I said Aaron Boone, didn't I? Aaron Judge.
Yeah. So you take a guy like that out of the lineup who hits 50 home runs a year and drives in 140 runs. I mean,
he'll be back, and these guys.
But when? I mean, Giancarlo Stanton still has to go through screening.
Wait till after the All-Star break.
These guys aren't even standing up out of their chairs, Noam Layden. They're getting wheeled around in wheelchairs.
It could be worse. You could be a Mets fan.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right about that. We are still checking in on the World Cup, though. Quarterfinals. They get underway this afternoon, 4 p.m. in New England, France, and Morocco. Tomorrow afternoon in L.A., it'll be Spain and Belgium. Saturday evening at 5 p.m. in Miami, it'll be Norway and England. And wrapping out quarterfinal action on Saturday night, it's Argentina and Switzerland. That is your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan of Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal under you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:50. Out to Long Island, Huntington. The Huntington Cemetery. Just a strange moment there. This 31-year-old is seen throwing rocks onto the street from the edge of this cemetery. 3 cars driving by were hit by the rocks. One of the rocks hit a nearby dance studio. Here's one of the women who saw this 31-year-old. His name is Michael LaRock. And it's funny that his last name is LaRock and he was throwing rocks. Thankfully, everybody's okay, but she says it was bizarre because she saw him throwing rocks, and then all of a sudden she said, my car got hit by one.
I saw this guy on behind the fence in the cemetery throwing things. I couldn't see what was being thrown at the time, but then I saw him wind up for a shot as I was passing by, and then suddenly I hear a thud on the back windshield.
Yeah, so that's when she realized, I've been hit.
I'm glad that it was my back windshield and not my front, and I'm glad that I wasn't hurt. But I am frustrated and angry because why me?
Yeah, and she called the cops. I'm sure the other drivers did as well. LaRock ran through the cemetery to get away from the cops. He knocked over a tombstone, started fighting with the responding officers before he was taken into custody. He faces a slew of charges, including cemetery desecration, menacing, and criminal mischief. He'll be arraigned at a later day. 5:52, Mayor Mamdani yesterday unveiling a major plan that's expected, he says, to take the MTA bus system to a whole new level.
Less waiting, faster trips, and buses that arrive when they're supposed to. We are also making sure that bus lanes stay clear.
He didn't talk about free buses yesterday. Remember, that was one of his campaign promises. But the plan, dubbed Next Stop, is expected to speed up city buses by 20% and shorten commutes by, on average, 6 minutes each way. That's a big deal if it works. Part of the plan includes identifying 50 priority bus corridors for improvements, adding bus stop seating, all-door boarding, and installing real bus time arrival displays.
By the time a year rolls around, you'll have saved more than 2 days of commuting time. That means breakfast with your family. It means having the time to argue balls and strikes at your kids' Little League game.
The city has committed nearly $900 million over the next 5 years to carry out that plan. Cleanup efforts continue in New Jersey after a number of severe storms over the weekend. You know, there's still people in New Jersey who don't have power from when the lights went out on Saturday, July 4th, on Saturday's storms. So one of the places that was hit really hard was Paramus. A lot of downed trees there. A state of emergency remains in effect in Paramus.
To see hickory trees and oak trees that are, extremely strong trees to either be uprooted, some of them are snapped right off. In Oakside, they took a chainsaw and took the tops of the trees right off.
Yeah, they have all kinds of crews cleaning up everything all over Paramus. Street parking in the Bergen County town prohibited as crews work to remove fallen branches. Meanwhile, across the Garden State, about 8,000 customers have no power as they try to get it back on. This PGA golf instructor says local courses have been impacted as well.
There's 3 golf courses in the area. You got Paramus Golf Course, you got Ridgewood Country Club, a very prestigious club, and then you've got Orchard Hills, which is a 9-hole golf course. All 3 of them sustained a lot of damage.
And they're still cleaning that up today. 5:54 while we're in New Jersey, a Cranford Township Committee meeting taking an unusually weird turn after multiple disruptions during the public comment session. The mayor there, her name is Kathleen Prutney, she's calling for an end to antics after a chaotic meeting. Apparently, Cranford has attracted some weirdos who, they have, if you've never been to a town meeting, usually what they do is they'll have a public comment moment where everybody's sitting on a dais, all the city council members, and then regular folk like you and I get to stand up and ask about things like, when are you going to fix the swimming pool in town or something like that. But what's happened is these strange people have showed up to make these meetings way more entertaining. I think about my early days as a reporter when I used to have to cover these town meetings. I would have lived to have these people show up because they were so boring. So one of the people who showed up at the Cranford Town meeting on Tuesday was dressed as a giant purple bong, and he identified himself as Bong Halio, and he addressed the council with a baby dressed as a bong, and then he sang a Lizzo song before he was told to shut the hell up.
More you ignore
Third
me,
time.
closer we get. You're wasting your time.
Your time is up. Turn off the sound system.
I was trying to find more tape of him because I could have listened to him forever, but I couldn't. The mayor doesn't find this funny at all. She says, people want to make comments and these guys are ruining it. But I would argue the otherwise. That guy's making it a whole lot more entertaining. And mile marker 113.3 on the New Jersey Turnpike in Secaucus, that's where a Jersey City couple had a baby boy last week. Kristen Fast was in labor with her husband, driving her to the hospital on the Turnpike. But when they got to that mile marker, baby Archer could not wait any longer to come out, and so they ended up delivering him on the highway.
So I think we were in the car for maybe 10 minutes, and I said, "This baby is coming now." The doula said, "Pull over, hang up, call 911. So we did that. Alex called 911. The operator started walking him through what to do.
Yeah, next thing I know, I get in the back seat and we're making sure she's comfortable, and I look down and that baby's almost here. He's ready to go.
And then moments later, a New Jersey state trooper, his name is Freddie Guyakayama. Now, let me get that right. Guyakamaya. He responded to a 911 call to help out this mother give birth.
Cop comes, he puts on his gloves, and he was fantastic.
He was great. I said, "Are you an EMT?" He didn't answer, so I said, "You're not an EMT. I'm in danger." But he was fine. He stayed very calm.
They said, "You got to clamp that cord right away. Do you have anything? Do you have a string?" And I panicked and looked in the front. We just had an iPhone cable. So we just clamped the cord with an iPhone cable.
When the EMTs came, they said, "What is this?"
Yeah, that's pretty great. So the loving and kindness from the state police who helped out. I mean, everybody wanted to show them love. They drove them to the hospital. And, here, I'll let her explain.
There were 3 policemen who showed up. I said I would love to be with her in the ambulance, and they were amazing, and they drove our car for us to the hospital.
So nice.
Which was so nice.
They valeted it. They paid for our valet. Archer's healthy. He's thriving. He's a Jersey boy through and through. I don't think you get more Jersey than being born on the New Jersey Turnpike.
No, you definitely don't. Good job done by Mom, Dad, and those state troopers as well. 5:57, traffic, transit on the 7th. Here's Jill Nolan.
Either being born on the Jersey Turnpike, that's for sure.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's awesome. I was laughing too about your Cranford story.
Yeah,
you did that too. You did the town meetings early in your career.
Oh God, the worst job. Did you do those?
Yeah, $10 if they used your cut on the radio station,
so funny.
and you got $15 if they used it the second time.
Right, and it would always be like they were fixing the pool steps, and I'd have to sit for like a half hour and listen to that, and somehow turn that into an interesting story.
Yeah, and there was always some guy in the crowd that would argue with them, no matter what they said. He'd argue with them.
Right.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?